honestly, the working class is what, in my mind, Longview's about.
Answer the question up front. It's what, like 80 degrees out?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yes. This is full-length black denim. Yes is the answer. But
that was my question to Raylene on the way up here. Was, you think he's gonna wear that thing?
100%. I'm gonna wear it. I can't not wear it. So I'm standing here with
Nick Aguirre.
And you are running for?
Longview City Council, position 5.
I love it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, so as always I do with the interviews, I ask us to find some place that means something special to them. What you want to represent us, you want to represent our people. I mean, broadly, you're Longview. I'm Woodland. They're more your people. But what means Longview to you? And you said come to Oregon, which is not Longview, notably. So explain yourself.
So you gave me the question. It was an interesting question. But for me, really, you know, I went through some of the things like the Civic Circle, which is big right now. And, you know, I went through the lake and I was like, but none of that really screamed to me Longview.
Yeah.
And for me, what screamed to me Longview was just the working class people, the backbone of Longview. How, you know, Longview is here because of mills and because of the industry. And that's, you know, then I was like, well, talking to her, I said, where can we go? I mean, I can't just go up to the mill and stand at their front gate. That'd be weird. So she suggested coming over to Rainier. And I was like, it's a nice backdrop. Oh, there's my work there. There's a grain terminal, the port all along here. And then you get into Nippon and you know, it's just all industry along this river.
Oh, yeah.
And that's in my opinion what Longview was started, and that's what it means to me.
So for you, Longview is not it's not the great works the town does, it's the daily work that makes the town.
Oh yeah, it's the people who sustain the town. You know, we're the ones that you know, we're providing the tax dollars, the services, and to get things done and keep our roads. They take the tax dollars from us. They, you know, the water, they take the tax dollars from us. So I mean, honestly, the working class is what, in my mind, Longview is about. So
one of the things is, I think probably the first thing worth asking other than that is, why do you want to run for Longview City Council?
Well, my decision to run was kind of a last-minute decision. I was hoping somebody was going to jump in that kind of represented my train of thought. But we got down to the wire, and there was nobody that represented, or at least what I assumed represented it. And so I decided, why not give it a try, see what happens. And that's why.
So when you say, that's the thing is like, I think a lot about how our government is supposed to be representative of us. That's the entire purpose of it. When you say that the people on the ballot, they don't represent you, can you shine a little light on that? Like,
yeah,
what,
I guess from what I was understanding, the people that were there represented one side of Longview, one side of American politics, and I didn't see anybody that was representing the other side of Longview in American politics.
The more working class.
The more working class, the more conservative side.
Okay. Is there a Democrat and Republican like bend to some of this? Or is it there are Republicans and Democrats, but they're not really lining up with working class, regular people like yourself?
So I guess I got to throw a disclaimer out there.
That's fine. It is what it is.
I couldn't find a whole bunch on these individuals. But what I was able to find, I didn't think they lined up with some of the values I had.
Yeah.
So, yeah, then that's why I decided to go that route.
That's totally understandable.
And I do feel like I voted Republican for a long time. To me, it still can sometimes be like, I don't really necessarily agree fully with the Republican Party. So I actually tend to think of myself more on the conservative with a dash of libertarian or something in there.
I came to a conclusion a few years ago that like labeling yourself at all in a party isn't helpful to understanding where you're at. Because like I used to be a Democrat for a long time, but then I watched Democrats be on both sides of every issue, and I just like, what does this word even mean sometimes? Like, yeah. I've seen Republicans say, hey, we're for the working man, but also outsource all the jobs. You're like, well, hold on. One of the things I've asked everybody once, I started to realize we were going to be talking. Anyone that I knew that lived in Longview or Kelso said, hey, what should I bring up? I've got this sort of thing on the schedule. And it came up over and over and over again, and I bet you know exactly what it is. What do you think everyone wants me to talk to you about?
Like me personally about?
What do you think the people have as an issue in Longview?
I think probably the highest issue is probably going to be homelessness.
Bang on.
Yeah.
Nailed it. So you're looking to be on city council. The general consensus is the homelessness is a problem to some capacity. Can you describe how you feel that is a problem and maybe like what you think some possible solution paths might be? You don't have to have everything figured out. I get that it's a team effort here, but
honestly, in my opinion, I think government should be completely out of it. I think, obviously there's the thought, well, nobody's going to do anything, but still, I don't necessarily feel it's the government's position to go in there and support and sustain these people that, obviously they might be having a tough time, but some of them have drug addictions and what we can call mental illness. And, I think the majority of that comes from starting with the drug addictions, and then that stuff just messes with your mind so much that and I'm saying that from a place of experience because I've known family members. I grew up in the poor neighborhoods, and I've seen all of that stuff, so I know how much it changes a person's mind, especially after doing it for 20, 30 years like some.
Well, and this is the thing, my mom was homeless for a number of years, and she once gave me a tour of Seattle from the perspective of a homeless person, right? And she never described it negative. She wasn't like, and here's where I suffered in the throes of meth addiction. She's like, we would all get drunk under this tree, and then sometimes if we got high, we'd go over here. And it made me realize, and this will sound callous, but I just feel it's true. No approach to curbing a homeless population can be effective if you're not starting from a position of some of these people are choosing it.
Well,
We don't know what percentage. I'm not here to be like all of them, compassion when needed, I would suppose. But I feel like getting the government almost completely out of it is sort of a universal response. I talked to the county commissioner, he was running, Mike, or Steve. I talked to both of them. I talked to Steve. And I was like, well, what are your thoughts? Because Hope Village is something that maybe the county wants to take over. And Steve's like, no. The county should absolutely not deal with this. And then he outlined all the problems that he had as someone who's engaging in religious charity to help out the less fortunate. And, hearing a guy running for city council saying, I don't think the government should be involved at all is probably the right approach. If you're paying people to monitor or build a population of homeless people, you're creating an environment where you're incentivizing there to be a population of homeless people, because if that population goes away, all those people lose their jobs.
Right, and that was another thing I was going to say is it's almost turned into the homelessness and the care for the homelessness is almost turned into an industry, and where you have all these taxpayer dollars going to fill positions. And those positions can run, up more than a lot of people, who are in some of these sawmills or whatever are making. There's some of those positions go up to 80, 100,000.
Here in Longview?
From what I was told, I heard that there was one that recently found herself in some trouble that was getting $80,000
to manage the homeless population.
To manage the homeless population.
Well, because that's weird. Because if you manage to decrease it past a certain point, your job is done. Like, that's your career.
Right, and that's accurate what you're saying, and that's why I say, it's like the pharmaceutical industry where, you hear it all the time. If they don't want to necessarily cure people, because then their money goes away. So
right.
If they can get you on some high blood pressure medicine, or if they can get you on something else where you got to pay them monthly, then then they could keep profiteering off you versus, oh, you're all better now, go enjoy your life. And that's not going to get you.
For what it's worth, in Woodland, we don't have any we do have an approach to handling homeless people, but we don't have like a tax funded department for this. So as a result, we don't have a single camp. If you're homeless in Woodland for a period of time, the cops roll up on you and they go, do you need help or do you need to be somewhere else? And if you genuinely need help, we'll get you help. We'll put you up in a hotel. We'll get you food. We'll get you connected with jobs. We really want you to make sure people are taken care of. Woodland has, I think, more churches per capita than any town I've ever been to.
Really?
So many. I live within 3 blocks of like 8 churches. It's ridiculous. So we're very charitable is what I'm trying to say. But if you're choosing to be homeless and deal drugs, you can't choose that in Woodland because you'll end up either arrested or somewhere else.
Right.
Hey, you know where someone could go that's about 20 miles north of Woodland? Super friendly to the homeless community and could catch Portland overflow. I hear there's a whole village for this.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. These are all locals.
This is conspiracy.
These are all locals.
I'm a lunatic. I mean, look at how I'm dressed. Yeah. Obviously, I'm a crazy
80-degree
person.
weather, 85-degree weather. You're obviously crazy.
All right, so we're trying to get government at least as minimal involvement as possible.
Yeah.
Because if we don't incentivize the behavior, it'll shrink on its own from the people that are choosing to be a part of it. And we don't necessarily have to actively go in there with nightclubs and beat people.
No. But I think, Elijah, you hit on it though, because if they're going to get the services, if they're going to get the resources that they want, then why would they not move on? And it's beneficial to them, and I'm sure they would rather have a place, a home, a 2-bedroom, three-bedroom home to go get high in or something instead of in the civic circle.
You'd think,
but they're okay with that. They're okay with the civic circle because what they're chasing is a high.
Yeah,
that's what they're chasing. They're not necessarily chasing rent. They're not chasing anything else. They're chasing a high.
I've never done methamphetamine, but what I do know of people that do it is apparently so good you'll sleep in a storm drain and steal copper out of a job site, which is it's got to be great, right? Could you imagine a thing so good that you'd be like, fuck my family, I'm going to sleep in a storm drain, and I'm going to go steal copper from a construction site?
Yeah.
I
don't know. Well,
I've never done anything that good is what I'm saying. So this is not an ad for meth. Don't do drugs.
That was... My family has a history of addiction.
Same.
Now, well, yeah, you said your mom. I had an older sister that was real bad into it. She's doing better now. She's got a job. She's doing great. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Praise Jesus that she's doing that. But she was kind of my example growing up that, I saw what it did. I saw what the lifestyle was in. And I was like, yeah, I drank a whole lot of beer, but I stayed away from the harder stuff because I knew my addiction and I knew that could be a problem later on, especially seeing it. It's
watching my mom pawn my dog because she'd rather get drunk made me go, I don't know necessarily if I could just have a casual beer, if I could just tie a couple on after work. I don't know if that's in the cards for me, but I also don't want to play those cards.
Yeah. I don't
want to end up being that guy.
I got 16 years of sobriety. I stopped drinking. That was not a good husband, not a good father. So thankfully I put all that away 16 years ago, and I'm coming on 17. So.
Are you still doing meetings, or?
I never did meetings.
You just knuckled up one day.
I just quit one day, and I had I think it was 103, 104 fever for 3 days in a row. And then one day I woke up, bed all wet, sweated it all out, and all good. I mean, the temptation is always there. This is a country where that's legal, so I mean, you can see it. But but thankfully, praise Jesus, it's all gone now.
And that's that's counter to that. Well, that's not counter. That is the point of how we need to at least start to approach the sort of compassionate care to drug abuse, right? Is nobody forced you through a program, and you didn't go through one that got you better. You just were like, this is terrible. I have to stop.
Yeah. You have to have something that is more important to you than your addiction, than your high.
And AA is a great meeting it's a great tool to use to start to come out of that. It's such a good program. And if you want to give people charity, make sure they're peeing clean. or, enforcing a curfew. Because then when you find the people that don't want to do that, you know who's just deciding to be homeless.
Just looking for benefits.
Right. Okay, so homeless, check. We checked that. That's important. You're a working man, right? Taxes, they're too high. And then the roads are shit. Or maybe not. What else is going on?
Well, it's taxes are high. The roads are... A lot of roads are bad. I'm not in a lot of side streets.
Yeah.
I got my path to work and to the main ones, and they can use some improvement.
Sure.
But also, what I hear a lot about, obviously, is still water.
Water bill's high here.
The water bill's high, and then they're getting upset about the water quality. So
okay.
We're still having water quality issues.
I want to touch on that because that is crazy, but water bills being too high is also a Woodland problem. I think there's something that happens, and I don't know the back end numbers, right? Like I haven't dug into the system, so I don't know for sure. I think there's something that happens when you stare at a gigantic river all day, and you're just like, "There's no way I should be paying that much. Yeah. It's right here."
Yeah. So,
but the quality is interesting.
Yeah.
What's going on with water quality?
Well, a lot of people complain about the silica in the water.
Silica.
The silica in the water. You probably
is that you guys? Is that fiber? Just dunking it in?
That's not fiber. They're getting it from the old what is it, Mint Farm now? I think.
Yeah.
Over there.
Okay.
A little bit further down towards Walmart. So I think that was more like the Reynolds area.
Okay.
But it has nothing to do with the industry, honestly. It's just when you dig down and you get water out of there, there's going to be more suspended solid or dissolved solids and stuff like that in there. So you're going to have to filter that out some. It's just the natural, your rainwater comes down, goes through dirt, rock, clay, and it's going to pick up stuff, and then it pulls down below, and then when you pump it out, it's going to have that stuff with it.
Is it a situation where, you could allocate some tax resources to better filtration?
Yes. It's just we got to pay the money.
Gotcha.
And that's in my mind, and the people I talk, we are already getting taxes and taxes and taxes, but we're not really seeing anything from it. I would actually be open to getting all the information out to the public, and there's systems like a reverse osmosis or something like that will actually get all that silica, or a big majority of that silica and other stuff out. But put it all to the public and allow the public to decide, is that $20 extra a month worth clean? Well, I buy water bottles, so am I spending $20 a month on water bottles? Is it the silica ruining our appliances? Is it our faucets? People wash their cars, got water.
Could it make you sick?
Yeah, well,
probably not.
Probably silica is not too bad for the body in moderation. Obviously, if you got a lot, but
so if you drink a lot of water, you've got problems.
Silica, yeah. So that's one big thing that a lot of people talk about, and I'm okay with thinking about this. I have no problem necessarily being taxed as long as our money is used efficiently for the stuff that the public wants. And
that tracks. I feel like that's a very reasonable thing to ask for.
Yeah, right? Weird.
I remember my buddy had a house in Kelso, and I have lived in Woodland. I've lived in Vancouver since 2012. I have lived in Woodland for 3 years. I drive to Longview, Kelso for work because I'm outside for industrial stuff, so I'm just in areas of industry kind of all over. Probably twice a month for the past 5 years. I don't know where Kelso stops. Yeah. I just shorthand it to the river, but apparently that's not correct.
A little bit over is Kelso.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So help me out here.
It goes to I want to say it's right about, I know it's going to be a weird line, but basically what I consider is basically when you get to Ocean Beach and Washington Way, this way starts to go with Longview a little bit over here, like that little Twin Center Mall, I believe is still Kelso, where the old marketplace and stuff used to be. There's the Catlin Pool, that's still Kelso. Not pool, but spray park. I
gotta say, I know this is gonna sound weird. I love the mall. You guys have such a good mall. I know not Longview, but
Kelso over there.
Well,
Three Rivers Crossing. Hey,
Three Rivers Crossing's good.
I hope that I really hope it's under new owners. I really hope they do something It's been sitting over there for a long time because, unfortunately, the way that America works, you can get tax credits for stuff that is not making money, and there's a whole bunch of stuff, but that's nothing Longview can do. But
that's not a job for Longview City Council. That's Kelso's problem.
But now they got some new owners.
Yeah,
and I do believe these new owners are gonna. They're putting money into it. We actually just went and walked it the other day.
It's not bad.
And they're I don't know what's gonna go in, but they're remodeling, they're painting. I know they've got a couple eateries that they got in there now that are coming in, and I'll go over there and spend some money and eat some good food, hopefully.
That is, so my favorite thing about malls, I've been to the Mall of America. I don't like it. It's interesting as an engineering feat. Like, it's just huge. But what I love about malls is I love the idea of a giant indoor sort of pavilion. That's cool. I grew up in the 90s when like malls were still a big deal. So I still like them. And then as I got older, I fell in love with like struggling malls, like a mall that can't keep tenants and it like has a closed Macy's and is just trying to pull it together. And Three Rivers is like one of my absolute favorites because it's a mall that even on the inside is trying so hard to like work. The library's there, there's a food bank, like all the businesses that are still the anchor stores. You have like a JCPenney's and then
Penny's is it.
That's it. Everything else is like local and they're just pulling it together.
Yeah.
And I'm just so in love with the fact that it's entirely centered around local small business. If you go spend money at the Three Rivers Mall, that money is staying in Kelso. It's not going anywhere else. And that is always what I champion as much as I can, right? Like fiber is right there, right? Like that's where I should buy my sawdust. I don't know what you make. What do you guys make over there?
We
what
make
do you
cardboard. Do? Basically, we make cardboard products, some paper products, but mostly the cardboard. We got that. You can see it a little bit now. We got a giant box plant that they just put in like a couple years ago. It's like one of the biggest. I'm pretty sure it's not biggest on the West Coast, but it might be the biggest in North America. I don't know that for sure.
I was just watching a video where some guy's like, we don't even make things in America anymore. And I was like, well, we're working on it.
Well, we make cardboard for people to put foreign stuff inside American cardboard.
Hey, you know what? I'm for it. I'm all for it. Start with the cardboard and work our way in.
Work our way in.
We'll come back. I'm in love with additive like 3D printing. I think we're probably 5 years, 10 years behind as people. When you look at what it can do and what we should be doing, there needs to be a store that you could go to that doesn't 3D print crap, but has kits and you get to customize your pieces. And then it like 3D print a little snap together kit.
There's space over in Three Rivers Crossing. I think you can just get yourself a spot, start this up, deliver it to people.
I need a grant. Let's call me
I need a grant.
I need a grant. Look, the show gets like 300 views. I don't got start a 3D printer shop in the mall money. So, okay, how long you been in Longview? Your whole life?
Well, we moved to Kelso in 94. I originally grew up in Sunnyside, which is Yakima Valley, and moved in 94. Then stayed there till, I guess I came into Longview for a little bit when my oldest daughter was born, and then we went back to Kelso. And now we're back in Longview. We've been in Longview since 2010. So.
Is there a reason you are moving between Longview and Kelso, specifically? Is like housing prices?
It's just where we found a house that we wanted to rent and stay in.
It all kind of feels like the same place.
Yeah, it's.
I understand.
I don't know if I'll get bludgeoned for this or not, but I mean, you kind of always think of it as the same. It's just one big kind of community. Typically, what happens is each of us share our problems. Kelso sent some of their problems over our way, but.
What, like you're adopting their homeless?
Yeah.
No, that's ridiculous.
So, but yeah, that's just back and forth a little bit. But
all right, well, no, because I grew up in Phoenix, right? And when I was little, there were these. So
no wonder you could wear that.
Yeah, there were these boroughs in Phoenix. There was like Phoenix and Glendale and Mesa, but I didn't know that they were different cities. Phoenix had just grown so much over the years that it had just started eating. It just eaten everything around it. Yeah. So I can understand Kelso and Longview sort of over time just becoming one thing. It's a bridge and some, what, 80-year-old like demarcation lines on a map.
Yeah.
It's like, it's
that
look,
go
you
like
can't-
this.
Yeah.
So nobody even knows what is Kelso, what is Longview most of the time.
What I know is that Kelso has the mall and a downtown that should be busier than it is, and it has Marie Glusenkamp Perez's field office, or one of them. I don't know exactly how that works, but I know she's there. And then Longview has all the business, because you guys make all the actual stuff. So they're like the hoity-toity people that use all of your hard work to build their fancy theaters.
Wow.
And you guys have Sacagawea Park, which is slick.
Yeah.
That is a great park. With the squirrel bridges, it's a beautiful drive.
Okay.
All right, so we got the homeless sorted. Roads are... We want to be more transparent with government as a whole, right? Is that the idea? Making sure we're...
That's my idea, yeah. Yeah. You know, it's a fancy word. Everybody likes to use it. Transparency. You know,
Yeah.
If you look back in the last 50 years, I'm sure every campaign has used transparency.
And then immediately hides the shit they're stealing.
Yeah. But like we were talking about a little bit earlier, I mean, that honestly, and my wife might get mad at me for saying this, but if you don't feel the same way that I feel, don't vote for me, because I am going to vote the way that I feel and what I believe. And that's why I'm trying to make it as clear as I can make it.
So then let's give you a couple minutes. You said you're going to vote with your heart for what you believe. The camera's the people. What do you believe?
Well, I believe in the small government. I believe that the government should have very few responsibilities, and that is protecting our life and liberty. I believe that the government should be in charge and upkeep maintenance on infrastructure. That'd be roads, that would be the water, that would be the sewer, that'd be all that stuff. And then I believe they should just stay out of our way. I mean, I understand that we're going to pay taxes, because I'm not ignorant to know that it costs money to do things. But like I mentioned a little bit on the utilities, the water, we don't necessarily mind paying for things if we get the value and efficiency out of it. Now, and I think I could speak for the majority of people I know, friends and family. They all feel the same way. We understand that we live in a civilized society, and things are going to cost money. Nothing's free, and so, but just be responsible with our money, because this is our time. This is the time away from our families. That's how they get our money, because we work away from our families. So they take our money and then they do their stuff. So be responsible with that. That's our blood, our sweat, and our time away. And please be responsible with that. And that's what I want to do. I want to just be responsible for that and do what I believe the government should be doing, and not chasing things and creating our own another industry, which it could almost be a money laundering industry when we talk about homelessness and stuff like that. So, I just don't want my money wasted. That's my time. That's my effort.
You're busting your hump making cardboard.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is not easy. The sawdust has to go through processes.
It
presumably.
does. It's an interesting process too.
Look, maybe now's not the time for it. Maybe it is, but one of my favorite luxuries I've been given as a result of my career is I get to tour industrial facilities all the time, just for different reasons. Oh man, it's so fun to just be like, how do you make this? And watch somebody who works on what a job is, who works at a job that they think nobody cares about, finally get to light up, because they're like, dude, the brake press sucks, but it's so big.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on over there, and it's awesome, like a recycle that we have going on in that mill, and how much you capture and reuse, and there's a lot of stuff. I'll be more than happy to go over some of that with you later if you want to.
I'd love to talk.
Yeah.
But I think you're dead on, right? I don't know of a single person that doesn't feel like we should just be responsible.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to super commend you on as a whole is that you didn't waste this time just bloviating about how the other side is wrong for some reason. It's a challenge I give to people. Sometimes I'll have to directly challenge them, but I try to have these in a way where we're not talking about like the political code words of the day, right? I'm not here to go, it's this side or that side or one side or the other, because that doesn't matter when everyone has to deal with the homeless problem.
Right.
I don't care what side of the ballot you're on. There's a clear drug crisis going on in Longview, and you guys don't even have your drug problem. You have Kelso and Woodland and Chehalis and Centralia and Olympia and a lot of Vancouver and Portland's drug problem. You have all of that. You get Cougar, Yale.
Yeah.
If they have one guy who won't stop doing meth, they put him on a bus and they just dump him out in Longview.
You say it happens, but I've heard it hasn't. But yeah, you're right though. I mean, in again, like we said, there's nothing wrong with being compassionate, but be compassionate to people who are going to
use it.
Use it. Yeah. Use it. But,
and I'm for it. Like in Vancouver, they built these like little communities of like tiny homes, and they have very strict regulations to be in them. And the one thing that they champion is they have like a 26% turnover rate for getting people out within 30 days to go do something else. Like within 30 days, if you're in Vancouver, if I remember reading it right, and you're in one of these like little villages, you are off. You're off. You got a job, a place to stay. You're done. Like this is a very temporary stopover. You're an industrial guy. We all know the fear of slipping at work, fucking up your leg, and that's game over. I hope it doesn't happen at Pacific Fiber, but we all know it happens from time to time, right? It's like we all are empathetic for a guy going through that and making sure they get the help they need.
Right.
But I'm also not here to just let a meth addict do as much crack as they want.
Right,
like
exactly.
I don't want to pay for that part of this exchange.
Yeah.
So any approach, again, I think limiting it as much as is not a bad idea, because the more pressure you put on that to do well with less, the more it'll have to actually do well with less.
Yeah. But again, we've heard the stories, and I've seen it where we're talking about like the government waste ends up being so much just because it's weird. Because I can go to the store and I can get 10 pounds of ground beef for, well, I'm making something up here, but it's probably actually going to be like $80 now. But 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 when you use a government resource, for whatever reason, things get jacked up in price.
There's just so much hands.
We're talking about anything. I see it over at there with business accounts. They have to pay more than you could go to a store. I have a friend whose family runs a business, and they for the same freezer pretty much they got to pay an extra $1,000 because it's supposedly industrial. But there's markups that happen in the government that I think just private organizations can bypass. The government's got to go through certain procedures on like I don't know the word here, but basically they got to like bid it out to everybody.
Oh yeah.
So they got steps that they have to work through, which is gonna jack prices up. Where if passionate people who care about the problem can work more with private corporations or private
groups,
entities that are doing these things.
So you're almost more for like in the discussion of Hope Village, you're almost more for like, let's take a hunk of money and instead of funding it directly at all, let's give it to like a missionary group at like a lower number. Because then they can just do it.
I would say not government do that. I would say that this company, if this private organization entity if that is their calling, if that is what they want to do. How many times do you see on the internet? I'm sorry.
The internet works.
Yeah. But they got the donate to the. They got the websites.
Oh, Give, Send, Go and stuff.
GoFundMe.
Yeah.
So you see. They collect millions and millions of dollars through GoFundMe. If that's something that people care about, let the community go. Why not? Why doesn't a private organization do that? And
you can get that money now for yelling slurs at a kid at a playground, apparently.
So that's what I'm saying. I feel like private compassion would be way better than government intervention in this, because there's so much other stuff that private can do. They can save money. There's more oversight.
They can set standards and restrictions.
Set standards. And so if somebody cares about it, about the homeless and about their plight, then let them put their money there. Let them put it there and their time, not necessarily money, but their money and time, and let them see the results that they want to see. And if we can do that as a city government, to give them more of their money to have back and do what they want to do with it, I feel like that would be helpful for the community. But
I don't have a disagreement. I'd love to devil's advocate this, but I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah.
At the very least, you're in a right headspace where if you're on city council with other people, you guys could put together a strategy. Is it a super collaborative thing, the city council now, or are you guys all chewing each other apart up there?
There's some chewing each other apart. I don't know. I'm just gonna get out there, and like I said, I'm gonna look at the ordinance, look at the resolution, look at what's in front of me, and I'm gonna put it up against what I believe and see how that lines up. If it lines up, great. Okay, you got my vote. If it doesn't line up, sorry.
If it's in the best interest of the working people, who are busting their humps and paying their taxes. And maybe if it gets the silica out of the water a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I've heard stories, and I'm sure I've seen some of it at my own place. But yeah, that silica, people are unhappy with it. It ruins appliances. It's basically safe for you though, but still,
I get it.
It's a hassle. People don't like it. It does mess the taste a little bit. Well, what they do to change it, try to get rid of it, does. But I did spend some time over here. We actually pull off the river right there. That was part of my job at one point in time. We did that for about 5-6 years, where we pull off the river, we settle it out, and we clean it up, and we use it in our process.
Oh, no way.
I know a little bit about it. I'm not like super awesome, but it's been 12 years since I've done the job, but so I know a little bit about it.
Hey, any experience is better than no experience, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, Nick, I think we got what we need, unless there's some other crazy thing going on in Longview I should know about. Like you guys have a lizard problem, or there's like a crazy serial killer on the loose, and you're gonna round him up.
No, I don't think so.
I caught the carnival, or not the carnival, the circus, which was fun.
I did not catch that.
It was slick. You should go.
Yeah.
One of them showed up like Spider-Man. He started doing trapeze tricks, and my son was at the age where he's like, Spider-Man was there, and I was like, I have no reason to disagree with this one.
Right. It was.
Spider-Man was there.
No, we do. It is coming up to the fun time in Longview, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we got the Go Forth. I love that thing. Wife and I actually got married on 4th of July, so
it's so patriotic. Yeah, so America.
Yeah. Yep. Everybody celebrates with us every year.
Oh, it's fun.
And yeah, that's fun. And then we got the Calais County Fair coming up. So I mean, summer's great here, man. Oh. This place is amazing summertime.
Oh well, you know, it's the best time to be a Washingtonian.
Yeah.
Other than all the other times, but still the summer's good.
you just gotta appreciate what you have when you have it.
No, I actually like the rain. I grew up in Arizona. They would it would be like 130 degrees out, and they would have these like elementary school classes where they would go, millions and millions of people keep moving to Phoenix. And I remember raising my hand once, and I was like, how do we get water? And they go, we just suck it up out of the ground. This will never be a problem. And at 8, I just got really paranoid about this. So when I came up here, it just won't stop raining. I was like, great, good.
Lots of water.
There's lots of water.
We just can't access any of it. You just got to go out there.
I have no idea why. I'm not in charge of that, though.
Yeah, me neither.
All right. Well, hey, we'll keep it transparent. I'll get this uploaded, and it's been a pleasure.
All right. Thanks, Elijah. Hey,
absolutely.
Whenever you're ready to learn a little bit more, I'll tell you what I can tell you about
dude,
that.
We're going to talk.
That process is fun.
All right.
All right. Thanks a lot, Elijah.
Anytime.